Hi, my loves. This is Isabella Sanfilippo coming at you from WCHS Wall Township, and you're listening to the I Love You podcast. So, today our episode is focusing on moving on. We wanted to do this as more of like an in general thing, but I feel like the most prominent form of moving on is moving on from a relationship.
I agree.
So, I think that's where our talk is going to really focus the most. However, we do want to touch on just moving on in general from a tough situation, whatever that might be.
Yeah, or like situations with friends, like whatever it is.
Exactly. And again, I'll give another disclaimer. This is not to hurt anyone's feelings. This is something that we are both feeling right now, and we think that other people might be feeling. So we wanted to put our thoughts out there to see if maybe they resonate with someone and it helps them. So this is what we do here. That's always the goal. Just a reminder. But I stayed up until like 1 a.m. last night. Not on purpose. I just could not fall asleep. So this is what I'll read you a little excerpt of my notes app. And you know it's serious when it's on the notes app.
When it's in your notes app. Like, especially late night notes apping is...
Yes. is peak. It's like peak poetry, like poeticness.
Exactly.
It's like really
like,
where
I'm
the honesty
so
comes
wise.
out.
I'm so wise at night when I can't sleep.
Exactly.
In my notes app.
Okay, so it's titled Moving On, period. The thoughtfulness.
Exactly.
All lowercase too. The placement.
Wow.
Okay, so I wrote, to be honest, when it comes to certain things, I don't actually know how to move on. Or if I should. So, as we all know, I just got out of a relationship, and it kind of sucks because at first being single was really, really fun, and it felt like being free, but then you start to feel lonely, and that's not really fun. And, yeah, so that was the little excerpt, basically my headspace of where I was last night, and I think I literally have in here, like, I'm so glad that I have a podcast, otherwise, like...
Where would our thoughts go?
Exactly. But also it helps you really, like, work things out and think, like, okay, what is best for you? Like, even though it's something that you might want in general, like, if there's something you might want, it's not going to be what's best for you. So even though, I'll, like, put this in perspective, like...
Yeah, I was going to say, like,
yeah,
where
that was so
going
vague. But, like, even though you might feel lonely and you start to want the feeling of a relationship again, it might not be what's best for you. Or it could be, depending on what you need. And at that point, that's what I had to do, like, a reality check last night. It's like, are you ready for another relationship? No. Are you...
But do you want one? Yes.
Like, it's just, like, something like, okay, like, literally, I am not ready for a relationship. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I just got out of a relationship where I literally put my whole everything into it. I can't do that again. Like, I have to, like, be like, girl, you can't do that again.
That's exactly what was going through my head yesterday, and that's so weird that that's also what was going through your head, because we didn't talk about this, but that was my exact thoughts. I was like, see, I feel like I'm, like, a relationship type person. Like, I want to be in a relationship, talking to someone. That's just how I work. I just feel better that way, and I don't know if that's, like, a bad thing, but that's just how I work. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay, but, like, am I really ready to, like, give my everything, like, everything to a new guy after I just did that? Like,
no.
Am I not tired?
Like, it's like, I just, no words. Like, I literally can't. Like, I was, like, saying to myself, like, yeah, okay, like, maybe it would be fun to, like, whenever people say move on, I feel like they mean move on to the next person.
But that's not what it means.
No, that's not moving on. Moving on is, like, kind of like a reset. It's like a cleanse. It's not going back to your default crush. It's like it's like not going back and trying to talk to the guys that you've talked to in the past. It's like taking it's like starting, I think I said a clean slate in my notes app. It's like a clean slate where when you're in a relationship or a talking stage or something, like, you get, like, validation and connection with that person from that person. But when you move on, that connection, that validation, that confidence all needs to come from yourself. And if you get in the habit of needing the validation from another person, like when you have to be codependent on a person in a relationship, like, okay, like sure, being in a relationship is fun, but like, is it the best thing?
You shouldn't really need a relationship.
Exactly.
That shouldn't be something that you need to be able to feel normal.
Yeah.
Like, you should feel okay and be able to validate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying all this kind of like a question because, Dia, like, why can't you do that?
Well, I think that it's human nature to seek relationships and to seek that connection, because you see in nature all of the time, like there's the penguins that mate for life. There's like all of like humans usually mate for life.
Pairs. Like, yeah. I feel like everyone is just like drawn to being in a pair.
We're like very social animals. So to function, to survive, to grow and develop as a society, we relied on teamwork and group work and connection and socializing with each other. And when we were first starting to populate the world, there was a little groups of hunters and gatherers. Like, you literally cannot survive on your own. Like, back then, if you were alone, you were dead.
Yeah, like, if you're alone, you're gonna drive yourself crazy. Like that one movie with the guy.
Oh, I don't know. Wait, what
that
movie?
Was like on the island alone, and then he had, guys, do you know the movie? He had like he had a volleyball, and then he like
Aww.
That was his only friend because he had no people. But like, the point is, he needed that volleyball because like, people, you need some type of, you need a person. Everybody needs a person.
I agree. So when you lose your person, it's human nature to
want another
person.
Exactly.
Exactly. So I don't think that moving on, in the sense of it's like moving on to the next person, is bad in situations. I think that it's human nature, and the way that we're programmed makes it really easy for people to do that. And that's why we see so often people who just got out of relationships, not even a month later, are in another one.
And I feel like it's not a bad thing for everybody. Like, it kind of depends on yourself whether or not you're okay before getting into another relationship, because some people just move on from things faster than others. Like, for some people, you know, like, they're in a relationship, they break up, it'll take them like a year to truly move on, and that's okay. And then for other people, it might not.
It really just kind of depends too, because even like when you get out of like a situationship or something like that, like I don't know, like there's like such a quick turnaround sometimes, and
there's like, you feel a little bit empty, like, without like a partner in general, or getting like that like male validation.
Yeah. And I think that's also a contributing factor to why people get back with their exes.
Yeah, because sometimes it's like, do I really miss him, or do I miss being in a relationship?
Exactly. It's like, do I miss them, or do I miss having that connection with someone? Because a connection, like a romantic connection, is something that is like
something that we're literally like wired to
exactly.
Want
it's
to
like
have.
So deep, I feel like. And there's so much to it, where you want that deep connection with someone else because you truly feel seen, and it's someone who's supportive of you, who's always there for you, who makes you feel like you're really important, or that's at least how they should make you feel. But
and it's like, it's really important to like differentiate whether you want your ex back, because you probably don't, or if you want to feel that connection again.
Because you probably
don't. Okay, guys, maybe you do. I don't know your situation. But most of the time, you break up for a reason.
There's always a reason. Unless it's like you don't want to do long distance or something like that. Like, sure, maybe when you meet again in the future, like, things are different, things can work out. But when you're in a relationship, you break up for a reason most of the time, and if you get back into that same relationship, the same cycle is going to happen again, and then again and again and again, and that's not healthy, and that's not moving on.
And I feel like the more that happens, the more you go back to your ex, the harder it's going to be to not go back the next time.
Mm-hmm.
That's just something that I've learned from like some of my friends, like just watching like their relationships, them going back to their ex and just having it be like a repeat cycle, and they never get over it because they don't realize that what they want is not their ex. What they want is a connection like that with another person.
Yeah. I think that also, like, when you get back with your ex, it's going to be the same problem. Like, the problems you have aren't just going to go away because you guys took a 2-month break. Like, yes, you can change as a person a lot in that same amount of time, but at the same time, like, people have habits. People have bad habits. People repeat things. So I feel like a lot of the times when you do go back to your ex, it's the same problem that keeps happening. And maybe if you meet again in 5 years, there's a lot of change you can do in 5 years.
When you're grown, when you're like adults, maybe, yes.
So essentially, moving on is not backsliding, and a lot of the times moving on is not moving on to a new person right away. You really need to take the time to dissect what you're feeling in different categories. Like, okay, you might think you want your ex back. Do you want your ex, or do you want that connection? Or you might think that you want to start talking to this guy you were talking to like 2 years ago, and you're like, oh, like, what if we work out this time? Like, no, like, just stop where you are, because it's too soon sometimes
it is too soon. And but also something that like I don't know if like you felt this way, but like when you start to like move on and like actually like other men other than your ex, like it makes you feel guilty.
Yeah.
Like I feel like moving on too soon, for me, the only reason why I wouldn't do it is just because it would make me feel guilty. Because it's like,
it is like almost like disrespectful to date someone so quickly after getting out of a relationship. Like, there should be like a certain time period where you wait. And I think that I don't know if this is a rule or not, but like the amount of time you've spent together is like probably like the move on time. I'm not sure.
So maybe not.
Well, maybe not if someone's in like
really,
a 5-year relationship.
If it's like really long, like that,
then it gets cut.
Yeah, then the rules change. I feel like we shouldn't really have like
there's not
like
rules.
That, like,
every situation is different.
Yeah.
But just be respectful, I think, because even though you broke up, there's still like you were still each other's people for a while, and I think that it's important to stay civil and to be like empathetic still. There was like a growl in my throat, but like still be like not like, I don't know, like cordial. Like, they're not your friend anymore, they're not your family. Like, it's just like an acquaintance. Like, treat them how you would treat anyone else.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's bad to have like to hold grudges against people like that. Like, just people in general too. Like, sometimes you really have to let that go to move on. And that doesn't mean, okay, also going for friendships, like, that doesn't mean that you have to be friends with them again. That doesn't mean that you have to go back to your ex, but like moving on from what they did like brings you peace. Yeah.
Let me see what else I wrote down here, because I was getting very philosophical. I was talking like, I think that we just want the feeling of being in a relationship, of having a person and having connection with someone, and that's what we're built to do. So it's human nature to want to have that connection with someone, but you have to think to yourself that someone isn't your ex. You just want that connection back. You don't want them back. And let's see what else I had. Sometimes you can just go ahead and do that and try to find a connection, and a lot of people, that's what they get sucked into doing, and then they can never be on their own.
And then sometimes it's like moving on too fast to another person and like being like, oh, I'm gonna give my all to this other person. That's also not fair to that person, because it's like they might be all in, and then you're still like thinking about your ex, and that's not okay.
Yes. Exactly.
Because you would not want someone to do that to you.
Yeah. Like, not to say that they're your rebound, because that's, like, kind of weird, especially because we're in high school.
Yeah.
But, like, when you, like, I guess, like, it's kind of like, like, you wouldn't want to be someone's rebound.
You don't want to be someone's rebound. Like, that, like, feeling like you're not someone's top priority is a really bad feeling. Like, that is just, I don't know. Because in general, I've just, like, for me personally, like, I've always hated not feeling like I'm anybody's priority. And so being in a relationship and then not being the priority because they're hung over their ex is, like, not, it feels really bad. Because
also when you break up, like, even if you think you've moved on, like, there's still going to be things that remind you of them. Like, if you're fully in a new relationship and someone says an inside joke that you and your ex had and you forgot all about it until that second, you were like, oh, like, that's so funny, da-da-da, and you're, like, reminded of it. Like, that's going to happen, and if that happens too soon, it's going to be like, oh, I miss them when you're with another person.
Yeah, I know. That's absolutely insane. I feel like if you're with someone else and you, okay, because let's say you don't miss your ex, you just want another relationship. You get into another relationship, that's fine. Let's say that you do miss your ex, but you think you just want another relationship, and then you get into another relationship, and then being in that relationship and missing your ex is so unfair to the other person.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, that is actually diabolical. Like, imagine
someone doing that to you. The empathy is so important.
Yeah, definitely. Because, like, if you know you're not ready for a relationship, like, I'm not ready for a relationship, you also don't want to lead anyone on.
I agree. That's like something that I don't know when this was. This might have been like 2 weeks after, but I could have moved on, but I did not, because first of all I felt guilty, and also I felt guilty for the other person because I'm really not trying to lead anybody on, and at that point there was no way that I was ready to even be, like, talking to somebody else. Because I just was not moved on, and so I feel like you need to recognize that, like, if you have a little bit of doubt, like, if you feel a little guilty, sometimes, like, there's a reason.
Yeah.
Like, if you feel guilty, then there has not been enough time.
I agree. I think that also when the lonely feeling dissipates is when you are ready for a new relationship, because that's when you can really think clearly, and if you're talking to someone, you can be like, okay, like, I don't need this person, but, like, I could want this person, like, to be my, like, partner or something. But when you're lonely, it's kind of like, not like you're desperate, but like
you are desperate.
Like, there's so many better people, and you could just make the wrong decision because you're just in that headspace of, oh, I wish someone would like me.
And I feel like if you're, I'm gonna just say desperate, like, if you're desperate like that, when you try to get into another relationship, you are going to bend to what they want, because what you're thinking of is not what makes you happy, what's good for yourself. What you're thinking about is just getting into another relationship, having this person like you. But, like, life is not like that. Like, you need to be yourself, and someone will be perfect for you. Like, they can deal with your flaws, help you work through them, like, you can help each other grow, like what you said in the last episode. So
and also, if you get into a relationship after getting out of, like, if you get into, like, another relationship, or you get into a situationship after getting out of a relationship or a situationship or whatever it is, and that person is not treating you right, you're more likely to just let it slide. And to kind of just, like, let it go, because at least you have someone. But that is not what you deserve, and you need to realize.
That is not a good mentality.
Yeah.
Like, unless you actually truly like them, because I've also known, like some of my friends that, like, do feel guilty for liking someone, but that's different. That's what I said before. Like, when when you feel guilty for liking other men other than your ex, like after you break up, but liking someone is different than just trying to rush things and going into a relationship. Because I know some of like my friends have like struggled with that. It's like, oh, like I just got out of this long relationship and I feel like I really like this guy, but I feel bad.
Yeah.
And it's like I do think that it's important to, even if you do really like someone else, to still take time for yourself. And
is that the bell? What time is
there's
it?
no way.
Oh my gosh, it's 11:30.
Oh no.
So I will edit this and salvage what I can.
Okay.
And then I guess we have to do part 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to do part 2 because I need to finish that last thought.
Yeah, there's like a lot of thoughts that I wanted to.
Yeah, there were so many thoughts.
Yeah.
In my head. We need to do a part 2. Please.
We do need to do, and like I like wanted to articulate them better. I don't know if I came across like the right way.
I feel like I need to listen back to this podcast and then and
try to
articulate my thoughts better.
Yes. Okay. So we'll see you next week. I'm your host, Isabella Sanfilippo.
I'm Dia Mandel. I literally never say my last name. I feel like I should start doing that.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the I Love You podcast. And remember, we love you.